with Sidi.
Right, you come back after the ad break at just the precise time that we've gone through the point where they're going to finish this race in 3 laps to go. Jimmy Madsen there tearing along to stretch the field for the CSC Tiscali team, with Hamilton, their star performer, waiting for the time trial tomorrow. Good day today. You'll loosen the legs, by the way, for the time trial tomorrow, which we're bringing the last hour live on Eurosport. We're now into Brescia. We've got 3 laps of a 6-kilometre circuit to go, and the sprinters then will be wetting their lips. They've been absolutely thrashed for the last couple of days in the mountains, and one has to bear a thought for them and how they survived on that particular few days. We were watching all the time, our cameras picking up in the last few days the specialist mountain climbers, but in reality just think about the heavy men who are now looking forward to getting a stage victory, getting some points in the points cup, whatever they're in there for now. They've survived these last few days. We lost a number of sprinters over the time. Hondo had to go home for the funeral of his mother. His mother died whilst he was on the race, and people like McEwen, who went back to see his wife and new baby son after winning a couple of stages. So a number of the top sprinters have gone from the race, whilst particularly some of them had an awful pacing in the mountains. And so we're looking now on your screen here that the time that's been lost in those mountains. Sabadell there is the marker point, and going back there you see how much Gonzalez Jimenez has lost at the moment. 8 minutes 46 seconds. He lost 8:12 on the first day, and overall 8:46. Frigo then 9:41, and then 10:19 is lost overall. Pelazzotti losing out 2 in the climb, but worst of all, poor old Cadel Evans, who in fact really dropped way back on the frame then, and lost no more than 14 minutes and 20 seconds yesterday, giving a total now of losses of 13:32 to Sabadell. But Hepner was the worst man really, who took an awful pasting. You can see he's way down the pan now, but what he's done then, Hepner, is he did what he set out to do. Well, he didn't. He's quite surprised to get the pink jersey, but he kept that going, and quite rightly I think the 37-year-old just stepped off the gas at the end of it all and just decided that he would ride through. Hello, problems here for the riders from the CSC Tiscali team. It looks like his arm's gone. He must have punctured, I think, when he did that. Just the worst place to puncture. This is where you need to get in the bigger gear and power up here, by the way. Oh, so many times we've been up this particular cobble climb, a traditional one for cycling, and you can see just prancing away at the front to Sabadell in the pink jersey as the leader on the general classification. He's just got to make sure he stays with the main pack, with the main people, and not get upended in any way. But thank goodness the sun today has come out and dried the conditions. A lovely, lovely day for bike racing. As Dario Frigo here for Tacconi Sport launched attack. Here again took an awful pasting yesterday, so perhaps he's now trying to get up to our little breakaway group. In fact, this is a chase group. Yes, he's gone straight past him now, and Frigo, who has now recovered from the bad day he had yesterday. He's got to be careful, because it's very easy to think, oh, I'm feeling good now, bang, off we go down the road, and again the man with the hammer gets you. And boy, we saw Frigo yesterday, he just slowly but surely just drifted off the pace and then went further and further backwards, kept his cool and came on. At least he finished riding in a straight line, whereas poor old Cadel Evans probably did an extra kilometre in that last climb of 19 kilometres. He was zigzagging all over the place. He could hardly ride his bike in a straight line, but he soldiered on. He got there, and I'll say he certainly will learn something from that. Disappointment back in Australia, I'm sure, but they were very pleased with how far he got there, and was the first Australian ever to take on the pink jersey in the Tour of Italy. So Evans back in the main pack. We'll certainly get advantage from that experience, and I wonder where we're going to see him pop up next. I don't know whether that the organisation of the Mappe team will take. In fact, I think he's getting a shove now. It looks like he's just had a bit of a problem. And what is the problem at the moment? Perhaps he just missed a change of gear there. There was just a bit of a problem back there with the Mappe team, and it was Cadel Evans that suddenly swarmed around about him. was Shoney, and I think Noe are still keeping an eye on him after what he went through yesterday. It certainly took a long time to recover 100%, but now with 15 kilometres to go, Frigo is having a bit of a go at the front, and quite surprising, Fassa Bartolo, they're whipping off down the road, because I'd have thought they'd probably wait a bit later. This is Matteo Tessato, and their best sprinter is the fellow Pataki, and Pataki, as their best sprinter, would probably be happy to get a bit of a lead out from Tessato, but he's not going to get the moment. There we are, as they're now going. Perron is a useful hitter to go with them too as well, an ex-champion time trialist with the Italian time trial team, so I think they've made a nice little threesome here, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on to Cipollini's team. And they begin to go. They've got all the work now. Got a nice little move there by the Tacconi Sport MG team. That's Frigo's lot to fire him off down the road, and that certainly caused a few problems with the Acqua Sapone Cantina Tolla team. And there he is, Tacconi Sport. And in fact, the not doing any work at all is the lad from the CSC Tuscany team. I think he's decided that he's just been sent up there to keep an eye on things, and that's fascinating why he's not doing any work. And I just thought perhaps he ought to go back and keep an eye on Hamilton, but anyway, he's found himself out in no man's land. No, let's see if Frigo goes back. Yeah, though he's not doing a tap at the moment, so he's just been sent up to keep an eye on things. And again, CSC Tuscany team, one of the only teams with a complete lot of riders, whole full squad, and Perron riding with them, not doing anything to aid the break. And we're just seeing there Astarola for the Psycho team in the red jersey at the front, and then back then with Cadel Evans. A little close up on his marvellous Colnago bike. And by the way, the time trial tomorrow, actually, I think quickly checking his notes here, I'm pretty certain that it starts very close to Mr. Colnago's works, or is it today? I know that at some point we're going to be very close to where Colnago has his headquarters, and so it could be the stage tomorrow. Well, they're all stretched out now, as just look at the pattern behind them. There seems to be no consistency at the moment in the chase. A bit mixed bag of riders chasing after this breakaway group at the moment. Very mixed bag indeed. In fact, yes, coming on down. Oh, yes, the time trial tomorrow. Just check that one. We are going to be at Cambiago. That's where Colnago has his headquarters. So that will be, I think, a big celebration for those people who enjoy that fascinating Italian products. So many gorgeous bicycles coming out of Italy, things like the Pinarellos and the Colnagos, and so many De Rosa. You can go on and on and on. They've still managed, despite the fact that, for instance, back in Great Britain, there's almost none of the handcrafted manufacturers make anything in any volume. There's lots of manufacturers make bikes that make frames that are maybe no more than shops, and therefore they make them for the local clientele. But we don't have the same level like they do here with De Rosa and Colnago and Pinarello making bicycles for racing teams. And the other America has also then come into the fray, because the lads here from the Tacconi's team, sorry, from the Acqua Sapone team are riding specialised bicycles. The lads from the Lotto team are riding the light speed bikes, the aluminium bikes. Sorry, get your mouth in gear, David. the titanium bikes from America as well. So the lads from the Psycho riding Cannondale bikes, but unfortunately in Great Britain we seem to have lost the knack of doing these things. Well, there we are, still the lads from Acqua Sapone riding for Cipollini, doing the chasing down and trying to keep the whole lot together. A jolly good circuit here, the little breakaway only 10 seconds down the road, so that's not very much at the moment at this particular part of the performance. So it could be that Cipollini's lot will pull that back, and providing that they all stay upright today, it should be a chance of Cipollini getting yet another stage rig. Cipollini got the stage into Groningen, into Munster from Groningen. We had that first road stage. Cipollini got that particular one and took over the pink jersey as well. He grabbed another victory when we were up on the stage into Luxembourg at Esch-sur-Alzette. So Cipollini got that one. That was his second one that he got. He went on to get a third victory on the 21st of May from Tivoli to Caserta, and then he had another victory on the stage into Conegliano. So he's had 4 stage victories so far, has Cipollini, and now he's looking for another one today, and probably one on Sunday as well. So that'll make him a nice little half dozen if he just manages to pull it up. The left-hand side looks like Lungi probably beginning to take off here. Certainly one of the riders from the Kolpak team, and using this climb up by the old castle as a... Yes, it is Lungi. He's a chirpy little chap, hasn't he? Gone and got himself a stage victory in this race when we went into Chieti, when there was a nasty little climb in the midst of that one. They virtually went up one side and down the other, and it's chucking it down with rain. He jumped off there, and in fact he had a darn good little ride yesterday too, so I think sort of spurred on by his success and getting victory. I think he only won about 2 minor events before. Whoops, he's gone. Oh dear. There's a 3 victory professional, that's right. One of it stood it to it, and now suddenly not only is he in problems here, but the bunch are coming up round about him. Oh dear, what a shame. Bouncing out the saddle. See, that's the trouble. He was trying to put the power on, bouncing over the cobbles, out of the saddle, and that meant the back wheel bounced. We might get a slow motion replay of that one, but I think there again, on the cobbles, the best thing to do is to stick in quite a biggish sort of gear and ride up and try and stay on the saddle if you can do, as long as you can, and don't do what he did there. It's not easy to ride, and of course the bike bounces, and then suddenly it bounced one too many, and over he went. And of course with the cobbles, they're not dead flat, they're slightly slightly built like a top of a loaf of bread, and so you get them sort of falling away on the side. And if you go on the wrong side of that, and then you just drop into the little rut between that and the next couple, boy, bang, you've gone. And what a great disappointment then for him. He was showing a lot of enthusiasm, but I don't think that'll dampen it too much. The only trouble, he's got to work his way all the way through from the back of the pack up again if he's going to have yet another go. Well, bad luck then for Dennis Lungi. At least he's got 1 stage victory to his credit so far, but I think the speed at which this lot's going will take him time to get back, and you probably think, well, was it? Well, here we go. And in fact, he's not bouncing out the saddle, he's just taken over too far and has gone. Well, that's it. Just enthusiasm, but there again, on that surface, bang, down you go. Well, all right at the moment then for the Aqua Sapona. They're still upright. And yeah, looking back there down that group, certainly staying out of trouble at the moment. Salvador is not going to let him get too far away, I don't think, because he can't be, he's got to stay out of trouble. He hopes that nobody like that little crash with Lungi would take him out of the frame, so he's still keeping up near the front. Thank goodness, it's a gorgeous day we got today. We had so many bad problems, haven't we, with the rain on the circuits. And one can often say that it's not fair that one should have these circuits to finish off a stage road like this one, but when it falls with rain. But you never know, when they design the routes of the major tours, then you get these problems. The Italians are much more inclined to put circuits in towns at the finish. They don't get quite so many in the Tour de France. In fact, I can't remember, we get maybe the odd one here and there, but generally speaking the Tour de France don't do this, but the Tour of Italy do. And on the circuit when it's dry, it's fine, but there are occasions when it gets a bit nasty and the weather turns bad, and then they wonder why they've done it. I think that's back. Is that Lungi at the back then? Somebody leaps over the barriers and almost gets in the way of the ambulance at the back. Right, back then with the lads from Aqua Sapona, still doing a good ride here. Let's give a rundown then, because they've lasted all the way through. And we won't see him tomorrow very much, by the way, but certainly they've all still in there at the moment. Cipollini, Conti, Dagant, Gasparoni, Colombo, Lombardi, Scarponi, Ciria and Trenti. By the way, Trenti, although he sounds very Italian, comes from America, obviously of Italian background, and he was riding quite a lot in the American teams, and then got himself now into the Aqua Sapona Cantina Tolla team, and he's there wearing number 19 on his back. And the other one from outside Italy is a Slovenian champion, Dergank, and he's the chap with the sort of reddish bands you'll see on the zebra jerseys. He's the one with the national championship jersey on. as now you can see Cipollini getting fair and square behind as the Slovenian champion warms it up on the front, and Cipollini just moving in behind his lead-out men. Particularly Lombardi will be the man who's going to follow through, and if you want to look for the number of Lombardi, he's number 16 from the Acqua Sapone and Cantina Tolla team, and Lombardi got himself a stage victory into Varese when nothing much happened early on, and off down the road went about a dozen riders, and they built up sufficiently. They didn't get caught. It happens from time to time. And out of that group into Varese, not only did Lombardi get the stage victory, but Hepner took over the pink jersey and kept it right the way through until Evans took it off him on the climb up to Corvara in Badia. So there's always an opportunist somewhere that gets a reward for his endeavours, and Hepner was the man who did that. And the Telecom team now fairly sort of towards the back of this pack. They haven't got any sprinters with them since Hondo went back to his mother's funeral. So I don't think we'll see much of them in the finishing rush today. The team you've got to watch out for is going to be the Phonak boys in the green and the white and the yellow, because they will be looking after the interests of Strazza. And in fact, just see now, begin to come on the left-hand side of your screen as I speak, with 1 lap to go, that Strazza's mob have started to get onto front. So Phonak, that's a hearing aid company. It's amazing that they're sponsoring cycle racing, but they've grown the team over the last 3 years or so, and it's become a very strong team indeed, and they're going to be very pleased, I think, with the performance of their man Strazza, because he's leading on the Intergiro competition, and therefore he'll be wearing that jersey showing he's leading on the competition, which is a blue jersey. So don't look for him in the colours as the leader. In fact, also he's leading, no, he will have the, sorry, my mistake, he's going to have the magenta jersey on, because he's leading on the points competition too as well, and the blue jersey will be with Guidi, but he's retired, so it's gone. Well, still the Acqua Sapone team leading as we go into this final lap of the circuit here. Roberto to Brescia, stage 18 of the Tour of Italy, 143 kilometres in all, 90 miles of racing that is. The last time we finished here in the year 2000, Vecchioso from the Kelme squad in the green and white jerseys, he was disqualified, and Biagio Conte was given the victory on that particular occasion. Throughout the day as we're coming in here, if you missed our rundown on the race so far, we've been over the top of the second category climb. It didn't cause any great damage. Galetti got that one from the Psycho team. Marin Marini was into second spot, and Tonkov Yesa was into third. Going through the Intergiro, Strazza got points in that. Conte was into second spot, and Mazzoloni was third. And we had a bit of a breakaway by Morini. He went out and lasted 55 kilometres, got pulled in the last 20 k's or so, and the effort now from the Acqua Sapone team is to stretch this thing along, keep Cipollini in the wind, and make sure nobody like this fellow from Rabobank can nip off down the road. And when they do things like this, it breaks up the rhythm of the Acqua Sapone team, and so now they've got to try and do what they can to pull back the lad from Rabobank, who have still got a complete team here anyway. But Rabobank haven't got any real out-and-out sprinters. They're more likely to try and fire rise off down the road. And this chap for De Jong is a typical example of somebody who's prepared to have a bit of a go. He's done this before, and he's been caught very often just going in toward the finish. So can he stay out there on this particular occasion? Now we're going around where Lunghi fell off last lap, and he's now still at the back of a Freya. So I think that the lad from Rabobank has made it safe and sound. Yes, he has. Whoops, around the next one. And this is the point where it's really worthwhile having a bit of a dig. And is he going to survive all the way up to top? Because the Acqua Sapone team, I think, will just try and keep their cool, keep the act together. There's no sense sending one bloke off down the road to try and pull him back. They'll try and, I think, when we get over the top of this little up. There we are. You can just see what he's done on the right-hand side of your screen. So he's still having a go. Now, see how the coordination of the lads behind. Look, they're looking back, very controlled. Here they come, just checking to see if they're all together, and they are. Now, Cipollini's lost a few places. Cipollini's suddenly dropped about 3 or 4 places. We've just seen the magenta jersey of Strazza moving up there too to get up towards Cipollini. I'm sure he'll try and get onto his wheel. And there's 4 kilometres to go now. Well, Cipollini, phenomenal. He has been throughout this race so far. Can he notch up yet another one, make it 5 in the Tour today? Let's see how he goes. And still then look to De Jong, he's under pressure. And this is going to be what if he makes it 38 victories for Cipollini in the Tour of Italy. And that will be closing the gap on Binder, who's scored 41 victories so far. Binder, by the way, who has the record number. There's going to be a stamp produced by the Italian Post Office in memory of Binder with his 41 victories in the Tour, because it's now the 100th year of the birth of Alfredo Binder. So to commemorate the birth of Binder, who has the record number of victories in the Tour of Italy. If anybody out there that's interested in collecting stamps and is also a cyclist, then that's going to be one for the collection then, that the Italian Post Office are going to produce a special stamp in memory of Alfredo Binder. His 100th anniversary of his birth is this year, and there's going to be a special stamp for you who collect these things. Right, who's going to stamp his authority on the race today? Cipollini, you say? And I think you're jolly good at doing that just too, because let's go back then to the victories he's had so far in recent years. In 1997 he won stage 1 and stage 2 and went on again to win stage 4 and so on. That's the way he goes, and even on stage 22 at the end of it all in 97 when he rushed through to get the victory then. Again he was back in action, getting 4 victories in 1998. Again on stage 2 of the Tour of Italy in 1999 he burst through and got that particular stage as well, and then again in the year 2000 he was in there again, and 2001. Everywhere you look in the books, Cipollini's been there. Can he get yet another one to add to his success? So the specialist sprinter Cipollini, though, might have his work cut out, because 1 or 2 riders drifting off the front here, getting into the last couple of kilometres of the race. If we go back to the start of this race, remember there on stage 1, Cipollini had to contend with Graham Brown, who nudged into second place behind Cipollini on the real big sprint stage after the prologue time trial on the first day. Behind in third spot was Robin McEwen, but he's gone home to look after his baby daughter. Brown's also retired. Hondo went back as well to look after well, go back because his mother passed away. So we've lost quite a number of the specialist sprinters. So can now people like Stratz, that's come good towards the end, begin to have a go at it? Let's see, moving through here from the Gerolsteiner team. It looks like we might have another chap coming up to try and do something about it and catch them all napping on the run in, because 1 or 2 chaps they're not used to seeing up here. But we've seen in recent sprints that he's got a tremendous turn of speed as Cipollini, and therefore I don't think he's going to be too bothered about the riders who are there behind him if he just keeps his form. I've seen Pataki begin to move through in the blue shorts and riding for the Fassa Bertolo team. And just also in the fray, just nudging and pushing and shoving, is Hasselbacher from Gerolsteiner. But here comes the riders for the Calme team, and are they going to try and set it up then for Vizioso? They're taking over the drive at the front, and that's making life difficult. I think Vizioso has now pushed himself up into the spot just behind Cipollini as we move in towards the final kilometre of the race then. What's going to happen then with Cipollini? Can he make it then on this particular occasion? As they now are inside the final kilometre. It goes round a bit left and left again, so they've got to watch it, as still though the Aquin Sapone team has set this one up. Now then, so the Slovenian champ has done his work. Cipollini now has only Lombardi and to really lead him out, and it's been infiltrated by Pataki. And I think Piccoli's coming through, and one of the riders from the Coast team has also decided to have a bit of a go at this one. But still, as they start to warm it up now, Cipollini is going to be exposed, and he's been following on behind Pataki, but can he thunder past Pataki? Cipollini's got his work cut out here. He might not make it. He might not make it. He hasn't, I don't think. That was close, or has he? Might have been half a wheel. Might have been half a wheel. Yes, they've claimed the victory, but that was close. And I think it was Pataki that nearly got him on the line. And that was so close indeed. We'll have to wait for an action replay of that one, but and also trying to see if I get confirmation on my headphones here from the radio call. So they're congratulating him, but I think they're going to have a double check on the photo finish, because Cipollini left it a bit late, and Vizioso was in there too, Pataki was in there, but I think in the end, well, he certainly got all the airs and graces of a man that's just won the stage. Everybody wants to touch the Lion King, don't they? Well, what a man. He turned out on stage one, the first road stage, to win that particular stage there. And just imagine, here we are coming in toward the back end of the race. He survived the mountains, and he turned up in Holland wearing a jersey that was an orange jersey with the stripes on it, and he made it look like a tiger. Rumtum Tugger from the great show Cats, he looked like when he performed there, but now he's gone back to his familiar zebra suit, and by goodness, he pranced past the rest of them here. And let's look at it from the top here as Pataki started to go. He'd infiltrated Lombardi's lead out, and then just timing it to a nicely. Let's watch this one very closely indeed as the Gerasana bloke tries to close up on this one, but it's Pataki on the right, doesn't quite make it. So in fact, no, it went to Cipollini. We're now going to, it was only half a wheel then, only half a wheel. Yeah, look at that, that was close. By the way, it sort of stretched a bit with our finish from the top, but certainly he got through there, and Gerasana popping up there in the finish, and I have to try and get which one it was of the Gerasana team. Might have been Hasselbacher. Woof. That was close. There he goes again. He left it a bit late, didn't he? Yeah, Pataki then into second spot. Well, all numbers coming up here, the riders that were in the just behind them, and so it looked like one of the lads from the coast team had a bit of a go towards it. It might have been Michelson that came through, lifting it, doing what he could to get up there, but well, I've just been getting all the. Yes, it was Hasselbacher there into third spot, and Mickelson, we spot him there. Stratzer, we spot him out too as well on the far side of Piccoli. Well, that was a bit close for Cipollini, I would think, and with the battle of rage again going into Milan on the Sunday. We're booking 1 hour of that as well, so an action replay of that one, then that'll be there again. And so can Cipollini make it a nice round half dozen in his quest then to catch up with Binder's 41 stage victories. So we're certainly going to see Cipollini back, I'm sure about that, next year in the Tour of Italy. I think he'll have his eyes on that 41 victories of Binder. But bear in mind, Binder won something like about 12 stages in one particular tour, and he was just so dominant that that was it. And I've got a suspicion that Binder was also at one particular point asked not to ride the tour, and they paid him a lot of money because he'd been dominating it for so long at Binder, and I think he was sort of paid not to ride one year and give somebody else a chance to do it. That's happened before in the Tour of Italy when they found somebody dominating it, but I don't think anybody's going to buy off Mr. Cipollini. He'll be hungry to get himself that I think that record 41. Looking back